Hi there, I'm imWhiskerZ, back with Soulstone Survivors, and today I'm trying out a community build, so to speak. I looked it up at Broken's Place channel, so the general idea is to have a bunch of Conflagrate, which does, well, damage to anything that has a burning or melting stack. And of course, another thing that I have is the combustion 5 times. Now, Conflagrate does not exactly scale with the amount of melting or burning stacks, which is very unfortunate. So, how does it do damage? How do you increase its damage if it doesn't scale? Well, you see, that's not the right question. The right question is, how much area do you have to your attacks? And my attacks take up the entire screen. And this stuff, it explodes, dealing 2 grand to nearby enemies. Which is to say, every single enemy that explodes does damage to every single other enemy. And given my combustion also ignites every single enemy, you get the idea. Everything is burning and everything is exploding and dealing damage to everything else. So this is basically the build. How many tries did it take me? Well, some things are better left alone. Of course, for the runes, it's obviously singular focus, since it's impossible to have multiple copies of the skill without the singular focus, which is unfortunate. Have the reroll. Now, for the reroll, you can change it with something else, like Inclination Fire. Or maybe if you're feeling extra juicy for multicast mastery, or perhaps critical mastery, which, increases the critical damage based on your critical chance. Because you see, this particular debuff, the Daze debuff, it stacks into hundreds. So that's easily plus hundreds, if not thousands % of critical damage, on top of guaranteed criticals. Which is, of course, very important, very powerful. And of course, I here went with Executioner to increase my damage based on the amount of on-hit effects on the enemy. And, well, I have a lot of on-hit effects in this build, so that makes perfect sense for me. And more health, and more damage, and more health. Yes. Now, a bit of an issue with this build. It gains damage very slowly unless you go full bore into on-hit effects and, have your combustions apply a bunch, because they hit twice a second, each of them. So what I did, I used other fire skills to give me a bunch of damage, a bunch of levels, and then switched out to combustion. So I didn't instantly go for combustion, I just took my sweet time. Because you see, whenever you pick up all fire skills, what's going to happen? You're going to have fire type skill counts increases, and I have a bunch of those. Which is also the way I gained such a massive area. Now let me just show you one. This one. Yeah, area effect modifier plus 240% of fire skills, which affects everything. This is anything into health, anything into movement speed, and maybe cooldown, if I get lucky. Ah! Oh, this is the death of me. Oh, this is Overlord 3 at this stage. I need to kill 35 bosses to actually get anywhere. And most of my time is spent running away from the bosses and not actually staying close to them, which is a bit of a problem with this build. It does do damage, but only if you stick close to the enemies. I mean, a screen close, which is usually enough to get killed by a random boss attack off screen, which I cannot see, or where, because my screen is so very much busy with the redness, I just run into the stuff on the ground. So that's the general idea for the build. Conflagrate, 1.5 billion damage, lots of damage. If you can somehow, some way, get more of these Relentless cards, yeah, you're all welcome. You're welcome to try it. But honestly, I really don't recommend running this particular thing. But Conflagrate on its own, which is just the spontaneous combustion, will actually do you as well. So if you run this on a nice build, of all things, because what's going to happen, you will enlarge your area to the maximum, and ice skills will be exploding in daily damage per ice stack. You're going to have ice skills stacking up burn on the enemies, and then will also allow Conflagrate to deal damage. But then you also do... Where is the skill? Where is it? Then you also apply Doom, Fatal Strikes, at random. And what's going to happen, you're going to pick up the Doom activating skill like Conflagrate, but for the Doom, I don't even remember the name. And that skill will also do damage just like Conflagrate. Now, I don't think there is a poison skill that does the same thing. There's definitely a daze skill that does that. So you can also incorporate that as well. Overall, very big damage, very satisfying. But not with combustion. Good lord, not with combustion.